Let us see the relationship between the AR curve and the MR curve. Relationship between AR and MR. So the relationship of AR and MR is given under two heads. Constant prices, AR and MR at constant prices. Next one, AR and MR at declining prices. So what do you mean by constant price and declining price? If there is no change in the price, then it is called as constant. If there is a change in the price or if the price falls, then it is called as declining price. If a firm is able to sell additional units at the same price, then AR and MR will be constant and equal. In case the firm is able to sell additional units at same price, then AR and MR will be constant and equal. If a firm is able to sell additional units only by reducing the price, then both AR and MR will fall and it will be different. So you have to remember this. If a firm is able to sell additional units at the same price, at constant price, then AR and MR will also be constant. If the firm is able to sell additional units only if it reduces the prices, then AR and MR will be different. So first let us see for constant prices or for fixed prices. If a firm is able to sell additional units at the same price, then AR and MR will be constant and equal. When price remains constant or fixed, the MR will be also constant and will coincide with AR. So this can happen only under perfect competition. So we will see about the perfect competition and imperfect competition in the 5th chapter. So under perfect competition, as the price is uniform and fixed, so in the perfect competition, you have the prices to be fixed and it will be uniform. Nobody can change the price. The price will be the same in all the shops. So under perfect competition, as the price is uniform and fixed, AR is equal to MR and their shape will be a straight line horizontal to x-axis. Look at the table. Quantity sold is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The price is constant. So this will happen only in a perfect competition. There is no change in the price. The price remains the same. So how do you calculate the total revenue? Price into quantity, P into Q. 1 5s are 5, 2 5s are 10, 3 5s are 15. How do you calculate the average revenue? Total revenue divided by the quantity. 5 divided by 1 will give you 5. 10 divided by 2, 5. 15 divided by 3, 5. 20 divided by 4, 5. This is how you calculate the average revenue. How do you calculate the marginal revenue? Look at the difference in the total revenue. 10, first one, you put it as it is. 5, 5. 10 minus 5, 5. 15 minus 10, 5. 20 minus 15, 5. 25 minus 20, 5. 30 minus 25, 5. So what do you observe here? Price, the average revenue and marginal revenue all are the same. So here on the x-axis we have marked the output and on the y-axis price. Price is constant 5. So when I sell the first product, it is 5. Okay, the AR is 5, the MR is also 5. For the second product, AR is 5, MR is also 5. For the third product, AR is 5, MR is also 5. Price is also 5. Fourth product also, then for the fourth product, AR is 5, MR is 5. So when I join all these points, my AR and MR coincide with each other and it is a horizontal straight line parallel to the x-axis. ஏஆரும் எம்ஆரும் ஒரே இடத்துல தான் இருக்கும். இங்கே தான் ஏஆர், அதுக்கு மேலேயே தான் எம்ஆர். ஒரே கோடு மாதிரி இருக்குது, ஆனால் ரெண்டு கோடு இருக்குது, ஒன்று மேலே ஒன்று கரெக்டாக இருக்குது. ஸோ ஏஆர் அண்ட் எம்ஆர் ஆர் கான்ஸ்டன்ட் and it is a horizontal straight line parallel to the x-axis. Now what happens at declining prices? If the firm is able to sell additional units only by reducing the prices, then AR and MR will fall and be different. The fall in MR will be more steeper than the fall in AR. The fall in MR will be more than the fall in AR. So it is noted that MR will be lower than AR because MR falls quickly. So MR will be lower than the AR. Then both the curves, both AR and MR will be sloping downwards from the left to the right. AR curve and MR curve will slope downwards from the left to right. The MR curve divides the distance between AR curve and y-axis into two equal parts. The decline in AR need not be a straight line or a linear. Okay. So look at the table here. Quantity 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The average revenue. What happens? There is a decline in the price. As the quantity increases, there is a decline in the price, or when the price falls, the quantity demanded increases. So 1 tens are 10. This is the total revenue. 2 nines are 18. 3 eights are 24. 4 sevens are 28. How do you calculate the marginal revenue? You can put even 10, or if not, you can just put a blank dash also. 18 minus 10, 8. 24 minus 18, 6. 28 minus 24, 4. 30 minus 28, 2. 30 minus 30, 0. 28 minus 30, minus 2. 24 minus 28, minus 4. This is how you calculate the marginal revenue. How do you calculate the total revenue? 1 tens are 10, 2 nines are 18. What about the average revenue? We already saw that price is equal to average revenue. Price is equal to average revenue. It is to be noted that average revenue is equal to price. So here we have price and AR as one column. The price and average revenue is given as one column. So if you see here on the x-axis, we have plotted the quantity, and the y-axis we have the price. So this is the AR curve and this is the MR curve. How do you plot the points? 1 and average revenue is 10. 1 and 10. 2 and 9. 3 and 18. Likewise, you mark the average revenue also, average revenue, then the marginal revenue. 2 and 8. 3 and 6. So if you see here in the table itself, average revenue is 9 and this is 8. This is 8 and this is 6. That's why the MR curve is lower than the average revenue curve. Both the curves fall downwards from the left to the right. It slopes downwards from the left to the right. But the fall in MR is steeper than the fall in the AR. That's why the MR curve lies beneath the AR curve. So what is the relationship between TR, AR and MR? This is the last concept. TR, AR and MR. So here on the right side we have the graph. All the three curves are marked here. This is AR, MR and TR. When the marginal revenue is positive, the total revenue rises. If you understand it, it will be easy for you to memorize. Without understanding, if you memorize, you will forget it. So please try to understand the concept first. When the marginal revenue is positive, total revenue rises. That is point number 1. Now look at this blue color curve. When the marginal revenue is positive, till this point it is positive because this is X and Y, both positive. Beneath the x-axis, this is a negative quadrant. In the lower classes, you would have studied y dash. Y dash means it is negative, okay? So till this point, it is positive. So when the marginal revenue is positive, up to this, when the marginal revenue is positive, the total revenue rises. So in the point வரைக்கும் நல்லா பார்த்தீங்கன்னா marginal revenue பாசிட்டிவாக இருக்குது இது வரைக்கும். Total revenue அப்போ என்ன ஆகிட்டே வருது, இன்க்ரீஸ் ஆகிட்டே வருது. செகண்ட் பாயிண்ட், மார்ஜினல் ரெவென்யூ இந்த இடத்துல ஜீரோ ஆயிடுது. when the marginal revenue is zero, இதுக்கு நேராக இருக்க இந்த இடத்துல total revenue எப்படி இருக்கு, total revenue is maximum. This is the second point. So what is the first point? When the marginal revenue is positive till this point, இங்கிருந்து இது வரைக்கும் எப்படி இருக்கு? Positive. When the marginal revenue is positive, the total revenue is increasing. Second point, when the marginal revenue is zero, the total revenue is maximum. Third point, now the marginal revenue is becoming negative. இந்த ஆக்சஸ்க்கு கீழே வந்ததுன்னா என்னது? நெகட்டிவ். When the marginal revenue is negative, the total revenue falls down. The total revenue is falling. First point, when the marginal revenue is positive, the total revenue is increasing. When the marginal revenue is zero, the total revenue is maximum. Third point, when the marginal revenue is negative, the total revenue falls down. Last one, both AR and MR are falling. Both AR and MR are falling, but MR falls at the faster rate than AR. The fall in MR is greater than AR. That's why MR curve lies beneath the AR curve. Now, what is the relationship between the elasticity of demand and AR and MR? Elasticity of demand, AR and MR. The relationship between the AR curve and the MR curve depends upon the elasticity of AR curve. When price elasticity of demand is greater than 1, MR is positive and TR is increasing. So if E is greater than 1, MR is positive and TR is increasing. When price elasticity of demand is less than 1, MR is negative and TR is decreasing. This is greater than 1, this is lesser than 1. Here MR is positive, MR is negative. Here TR is increasing, TR is decreasing. When price elasticity of demand is equal to 1, MR is equal to 0 and TR is maximum and constant. I will explain this with this table. Look at this table. Till this fifth unit, if you observe till this fifth unit, okay, elasticity of demand is greater than 1, E is greater than 1. What happens here? MR is positive. Till this, all this, MR is positive and AR is increasing. MR is positive and AR is increasing. That is point 1. When price elasticity of demand is greater than 1, MR is positive and TR is increasing. That's what is given here. If elasticity of demand is greater than 1, MR is positive and TR is TR is increasing. TR is increasing. Next one. When E is equal to 1, MR is positive and TR is maximum. When E is equal to 1, let us go on to the previous slide. When look here. Third point. When price elasticity of demand is equal to 1, MR is equal to 0 and TR is maximum and constant. So this is the next point. When price elasticity of demand is equal to 1, MR is equal to 0, TR is maximum and constant. That's what is explained here. When elasticity of demand is equal to 1, MR is 0 and TR is maximum and constant. Maximum means this is the highest point here. 30 தான் highest, so it is the maximum. Constant na என்னது? இங்கேயும் 30, இங்கேயும் 30. That's why they say maximum and constant. Maximum and constant. அடுத்த point என்னது? If elasticity is lesser than 1, MR is negative and TR is decreasing. If elasticity is lesser than 1, MR is negative and TR is decreasing. Let us go on to the previous slide. Let us go on to the previous slide. When elasticity of demand is lesser than 1, MR is negative and TR is decreasing. When price elasticity of demand is less than 1, MR is negative and TR is decreasing. When price elasticity of demand is equal to 1, MR is equal to 0 and TR is maximum and constant. This is what is explained here. output range of 1 to 5 units, from 1 to 5, E is greater than 1, TR is increasing and MR is positive. Output range 5 to 6. What happens? Elasticity of demand is 1. TR is maximum and constant, MR is equal to 0. Output range 6 to 10. MR is negative and TR is decreasing. This is about AR, TR, MR and elasticity of demand. Okay. So today we studied about first I started with the long run average cost curve. Okay, first we started with long run average cost curve, then the revenue analysis. In the revenue analysis, I explained three concepts: total revenue, and in total revenue, we saw when the price is constant and when price is declining, average revenue, marginal revenue, then relationship between AR and MR curves, AR and MR at constant prices, AR and MR at declining prices, then AR, TR, MR at declining prices. Okay, relationship between TR, AR, and MR curves, then the elasticity of demand and TR, ER, and MR curve. With this lesson, with this, we finish chapter 4. I request you to write the question answers in your classwork. Do the homeworks regularly. Okay. Don't pile up your portions. Please study your daily lessons. So today, 34th question. Discuss the long run curves with suitable diagram. For that, you have to write this as answer. Long run cost curve. This is the answer for question number 34. Then question number 33. Write a short note on marginal revenue. This is the answer for that. A note on marginal revenue. Okay. So here MR is equal to TR of N minus TR of N minus 1 or TR of N plus 1 minus TR of N. Okay, we have two formulas here. Next is discuss bring out the relationship between AR and MR curves under various price conditions. For that, this will be the answer. Relationship between AR and MR. For that, you have constant AR and MR. You have to explain that. Table and graph. Then declining AR and MR. Explanation, table and graph. We will stop with this, girls. Thank you.